Russia took over the Ukraine. Russia weaponized the Ukraine, and the U.S. helped to recognize. The U.S. helped to weaponize the Ukraine by providing tanks and military issued vehicles. Uh, in a sense, Russia talked the Ukraine into taking down the U.S. So, the Ukraine came into the U.S. before 2015 when Obama was in power. Obama talked them into helping the nation, the U.S. But the thing is, the reason he did that was because they were going broke from the cancer centers and because of cancer. Cancer was breaking the nation and the government. And Obama knew it. So what he did was he hired, through the World Bank, Obama hired the Ukraine to go and kill off the patients that were in the cancer center, in their homes, with radiation and old military style equipment. And then, to top things off, Obama also wanted them to go after the widows, so the widows would not talk about what happened. So, in turn, after their husbands was done in by the Ukraine and their old military style equipment, then the widows were taken by the scammers and fed to alligators so that nobody would believe their stories. They made their stories so incredible that nobody would believe it. They sent scammers after them, and they made their stories to where nobody would believe their stories at all. How do you make a lie a lie? You build it up into a fantasy to where nobody will believe it. That's what they did with the truth. They somehow were able to hide the truth and not put it out there for the media. And they were able to lie. And people bought it. The Ukraine went after the widows that slipped through and didn't get taken and fed to the alligators. And they built up their stories. They built up the widows' stories, fabricated them, made them false, and fed them to the courts. Courts bought the stories as truth when they weren't. A lot of widows were unjustly accused when they were innocent, like me. A lot of widows were dealt justice that should never have been dealt justice. A lot of widows were taken to court that never should have been taken to court. And I'll tell you why. A piece was missing from the side of our house. We heard a noise in the attic. My husband heard it, and I heard it. And he even told me so. He said, oh, maybe that's just a bird in the house. We didn't think nothing of it. Come to find out, the more I think about it, we did not have cable. We did not have internet, except on our phone, and that's it. The only way they could really attack us was to come in the house and attack us. So Obama, through the World Bank, paid the Ukraine to go from the cancer centers and take all the data and profile that belonged to the people that went to the cancer centers to go into their houses, their homes, their attics, and use old military style equipment and kill off the husbands that were having cancer, that were having chemo and radiation. Because they didn't want to pay for any more chemo or radiation on the husband's part. Yeah, Obama wanted all the all the husbands taken out that he could because of the cancer. Because the cancer was breaking the hospitals, because the cancer was breaking the families and everything and making them poor. So Obama wanted the Ukraine, and he wanted to use the Ukraine as a weapon to take out all these people that had cancer. The Ukraine worked for the cancer centers, at the cancer centers. Part of the SEER surveillance program had their picture taken with the staff at the cancer center, had access to the phone numbers and address of the people that went to the cancer centers. Obama, through the World Bank, used the Ukraine to kill cancer patients the rest of the way so they couldn't finish their treatments. And then he went after the widows because Obama did not want the widows finding out what happened because he would have gotten in trouble politically and otherwise. So, as a result, the widows were taken by the Ukraine, the ones that were not taken and fed to alligators. They were taken by the Ukraine, their stories falsified, taken to court, and the courts bought their stories that were false. And so did the widows. The widows were desperate. They would believe anything they were handed because they didn't know what else to do. A lot of them didn't. They've not done their homework. They've not done their studying. They've not done any figuring out as to what really was going on. Over 1 million widows have been fed to alligators and killed and were falsified through the courts and presumed guilty when they're innocent. Because they bought a story that was recorded. You see, they had somebody in their house recording a story all day long, cyber stalking them criminally, committing a felony, getting away with it. The neighbors are too afraid to stand up and say anything. So they were cyber stalked and lied about. And they were placed in situations that their family would not have believed them anyway, no matter what they said. Because the truth is sometimes stranger than fiction. And the truth was they were innocent. So family would not stand up for them because they were afraid to. Because they couldn't believe it. They didn't know what to believe. They've been fed so much garbage, they didn't know what to believe. As a result a lot of widows were killed. So we no longer have the epidemic of widows we had. Yes, that's what happened. That's exactly what happened. And we have Obama to thank for all of it. He did it to our husbands. He murdered our husbands through the World Bank and the Ukraine. I said it. I told you. Nothing was done to the cancer patients by the wives. The wives fought to hang on, and the wives fought for their husbands. We kept our husbands alive the best that we could, and we fought for them every chance we got. That's what a wife does. She loves her husband. It really is. People, I'm begging you today. I am begging you from the bottom of my heart. Seek justice. Not only that, get justice for what was done to the widows. I heard a widow scream on the phone, and I hear it every day. It was what she did before they fed her to the alligator. People, that was in New York, right here in the States. Justice needs to be done to them people in New York that fed all those widows to alligators. Justice needs to be done to the president. Justice needs to be done to all of them people for what they did. My husband was radiated above and beyond his treatments, and I did not know that. And it was not my fault. They weaponized the Ukraine and never told us. And they expected us to die for it. And that makes me mad. It's time to stand up. It's time to make a scene. And it's time to tell them what you think. Take care and God bless. Bye now.